তো আর এখনো বাংলাদেশ তো গিয়ে জানো আর এরিয়া জন্মস্থান এড়ে ওই আর হ্যাঁ তেদতে আসিও আর যে ঘর আছে ইয়ানটা আছে 1890 মেজে তেরোর মসজিদ ইয়ান মাঝে খনিকিয়া খনো দা আছে দান সৎকার সারা আর দা আছে গ্রেট গ্র্যান্ড ফাদারি ইয়ানোর দা আছে নিজের ফুসার উত্তু আর দাদারা তাদা আছে ইয়ান গড়া বাইয়ে দি মসজিদ ইয়ান তন্দতে বাইন্দে ইন হে 13 জিনিস আজও আছে এখনো ছবি ইয়ান গনে ইয়ান সাহেরা তখন নেইবে আর বাবার খবর দাও ধর তুমি তোমরা অর্ধেক আর আসলে গরমে এরা আদাস উত্তর শীতান তোমরা অর্ধেক
The law was brought in as a weapon of persecution. The law wasn't pursued as an initiative to establish citizenship. The law was coded to primarily persecute the Rohingyas and to disenfranchise them as an ethnic community.
Myanmar, when at independence, it was one of the richest countries in Southeast Asia. And by the time they left office, it was one of the poorest nations in the whole world. One of the biggest mistakes Ne Win did was that in 1987, Ne Win had made all the big banknotes, 100 all those big notes, illegal.
He just declared that all the money was worthless. So everybody suffered.
Our family become bankrupt. But all the monies, around 1 million, long.
အဲ့ဒါလေးဒုတိယဒုက္ခတစ်ခုအဲ့ဒီမှာစူးပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ကတိတ်တိတ်ပုံနဲ့ဒီအရေးခင်းကိုဖန်တီးလိုက်တယ်
At the time of 1988 uprising, I was the regional strike committee general secretary.
The whole country, there was a democratic uprising. So it was started from Rangoon. All the schools, including primary schools, were shut down by the Burmese military government. As students, we joined in democratic movement, protesting in Rakhine State for democracy. And the whole night and whole day shouting, democracy, democracy, democracy. All the races, all the religions were together. All the students were together. There's no any conflict in between any others in 1988.
88မှာအခုအရေးခင်းဖြစ်တာလေအဲ့တော့ထောင်လိုင်းရင်မှုဘွားပဲရှိသေးတယ်ထောင်လိုင်းရင်မှုပဲအဲ့တော့ဖြစ်လာတဲ့ခါကျတော့မှဗိုလ်ချုပ်ကြီးနေဝင်းကအဲ့ဒီအခြေအနေမှန်နေ तू မသိဘူးသူ့ဝင်ကြီးတွေကလည်းမတင်ပြရဲဘူးဗိုလ်ချုပ်ကြီးစောမောင်နဲ့အဘနဲ့တွားတွေ့ပြီးတော့မှအခြေအနေမှန်တွေကိုတွားတင်ပြလိုက်တယ်ညဘက်မှာတညလုံးသူစဉ်းစားပြီးတော့မှနောက်တစ်နေ့မှာ
At that time, Aung San Suu Kyi had gained some popularity. People began to know about her. And she formed the National League for Democracy.
မျောလင်းချက်ဖြစ်ခဲ့တယ်ဆိုတာကမျောမှန်းခဲ့တယ်ဆိုတာကတိဒေါအောင်ဆန်းစုကြည်ဒီကျွန်တော်လူလေးကောင်းဆောင်ဘူကျောင်းဆန်းရဲ့တမီးတော်ဖြစ်တယ်ဒီအတွက်ပဲယဉ်ကျေးခဲ့တာဘာဖြစ်လို့လဲဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့တိုင်းပြည်မှာလူနည်းစုတွေအခွင့်အရေးတွေအများကြီးဆုံးရှုံးတော့အထူးသဖြင့် Muslim နဲ့ Christian ဘာသာ
When the army took over in 1988 September 18, they allowed us to form parties and they promised that they will have a free and fair election and hand the power to whichever party won. So I believe their promise. That was my monumental mistake.
The Rohingyas were already a marked population for persecution when they decided to participate in democracy uprising, when they decided to support Aung San Suu Kyi and National League for Democracy, in the eyes of the Burmese army, they became doubly guilty. Before they were guilty for simply existing. Now they were expressing their political support for Aung San Suu Kyi and NLD party. And NLD and Aung San Suu Kyi were seen as the greatest threat to the military. They began to institute measures to essentially make life for Rohingya in their own areas utterly impossible. Nasaka was essentially the Burmese equivalent of SS. Nasaka was the executioner.
Bangladesh can win like Etheri. Barua Ether Lemkan, Dima Nirelu, Dima Murelu, so you know, Hodi, Mammy. Juaria, the Kayuave, Nameria, Dodonyale, the Kayamishiro, Muslim Niveyo.
All kinds of restrictive measures were put in place. Severe restriction on physical movement. Nasaka started to extort money.
Tulor gunari India, bad shuru area, bad my gorgor, Gomanu chase, thank no will bad gunalor, Mare, bad Bugani.
Any low Tuare Ludigo, Taulani low to mu, yellow to mu, and Mino in Gatwani, there's a bit of Sechiri counted.
Guru Bahari Divalalo Hazada, Turilo Hazada. For what Turilo Hazada, Harivalalo Hazada.
Yeti nine. Babisro, a soya period who are Neza Machine, the Cosino and Rumani Namuli.
No, Goronor Killa, Tarazan and Aramari.
Manush Lojago, Mortan Lojago, Kadayore, Lojayere, Horohodo Lojago, Honohobo, Casufiria, Casufirino.
The population was extracted forced labor to build the military who will come and oppress them.
See Nekande, Senene, Gong, Tape Tara. Ero, Luque Popiatari, Meshiwu.
In the Manhalo Jagabana, Dodor Ferracol had in Goraba, Shorhare.
Maloku.
Kenyon was the guy in charge of institutionalizing killings and destructions of the Rohingya to the point that Rohingya community would be wiped out. Kenyon should be persecuted for not simply crimes against humanity, for genocide.
I was taken to military outpost and I was severely beaten up for not complying in forced labor sector. And following this, I decided to leave my country, Burma.
In 1991 and 92, the Burmese military operations in northern Rakhine State triggered another exodus. And this time, according to the military intelligence statistics, about 270,000 Rohingyas fled the country.
But in 2007, the economic situation was so bad that the monks decided to come out and to protest. And everybody was very happy because they felt now there was somebody that would take care of the people.
I don't make it Sauko, Bangarika, Duru Yenega, Kanza Jedi, and Duru Yene Kanza Jesureni Amare, Yomazojin, the Takataka Mari.
Monks throughout the history had been seen as a force for good, rising up against the British colonial rule, or against the Japanese fascist occupation, or the Burmese armies, the repression against the majority Buddhist population. Monks were always on the right side of history. They were always supporting the people.
ဘာဖြစ်လို့လဲဆိုတော့ဦးဇင်းတို့ဒီတန်ခါအရေးခင်မဖြစ်ခင်မှာဦးဇင်းတို့စူးစမ်းခဲ့ရတဲ့အားထုတ်ခဲ့ရတဲ့အကြောင်းအရာတွေက6နှစ်လောက်ဦးဇင်းတို့ရှိတယ်
And that was when the military realized that the monks, they had to be controlled. The army sent truckloads of military commandos to hundreds of Buddhist monasteries. Hundreds of monks fled the country, and thousands of monks were jailed.
Everybody was shocked. They did not think that the leadership would crack down. That's where the crisis of confidence came for them. So the military decided that they needed to change.
ဘာကိုဝင်ကြီးချုပ်ဆိုပြီးတရားတောင်းပေးပြီးတော့အဲ့ဒီပထမအဦးဆုံးအာဆီယံအစည်းအဝေးကိုတက်ခံလိုက်တယ်မစ္စတာလီကွမ်ယူကြီးကဆိုရင်ကောင်းတဲ့အကြံဉာဏ်တွေပေးတယ်ခင်ဗျားတို့က military government နဲ့ military government ဆိုတော့ကဘာကနိုင်ငံတကာကနေမကြိုက်ဘူးတဲ့ civil government ဖြစ်အောင် civilian government ဖြစ်အောင်လုပ်ပါတဲ့ opposition ပေါ့လေ opposition party တွေကိုတဲ့တိတ်ပြီးနှိပ်ကွပ်တာမျိုးမလုပ်ပါနဲ့တဲ့
So the constitution of 2008 drafted by the military to legalize and perpetuate its stay in power stipulates that the military is above the law.
The Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Border Affairs were governed by the generals.
The military allocated 25% of the parliamentary seats to itself.
And if you want to change the constitution to remove the military, then you needed more than 75% of the votes. You cannot get more than 75% of the votes because the military has 25% of the seats.
And their influence is a bit reduced, but still formidable.
In 2010, the military held elections, but nobody believed that the military was really going to change.
So they went ahead and held the elections, and surely they won the landslide, and they were in power. And then 10 days later, Aung San Suu Kyi was released.
They allowed her to run in the by-elections so that the world would say, oh, from being a prisoner, she's now one of the political leaders in the country.
We hope that this will be the beginning of a new era where there will be more emphasis on the role of the people in the everyday politics of our country.
The military was completely shocked that the NLD party remained extremely popular.
As the country started to change within the military, there were some who thought it was going too fast.
So they manufactured the Rohingya